Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Matthew Mumbles, my own personal podcast series where I pretty much talk all things about my interests, my life events, things happening in the world right now, my thoughts on things, etc. So today, I might as well talk about the Secondly Object Show Second Round, which, if you guys don't know, is the sequel series to the Secondly Object Show from 2021. And I know that a lot of people would probably scratch their heads looking at it, asking, didn't I say I would just quit the gimmick shows? Didn't I say I would just leave the Secondly Object Show as is? Well, they're right. I said that. But I kind of changed my mind. Well, okay, not entirely, but let's go back here. I want to answer the question, why did I decide to bring back the Secondly Object Show in the form of a new series, the Secondly Object Show Second Round? Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. But first, let's go back to where it all began for TSOS. In January of 2021, I created the show, obviously. Just by pure coincidence, it happened to happen on the day of the whole Blankly Object Show trend. This was before, because the day before I uploaded all the Secondly Object Show stuff, that was I was kind of thinking to myself, because I was such a massive fan of the Daily Object Show, what if there was a show that was every second? How would that even be possible? So, I decided to gather a bunch of objects in my room, and I decided to use my hand as the host because that'd probably be the easiest thing. Plus, Pan's already a post on Golden Glory, so I could intertwine it with Golden Glory to some degree. This was before season 10 became canonically the final season, and then season 11 and 12 came in, but you get the point. But spoilers for Golden Glory season 10. The events of season 10 lead into the events of the Secondly Object Show. It's literally blood and center. But that being said, the Secondly Object Show I filmed in a single setting, and it was fairly fast paced for me to make. Not much really as far as stakes are concerned, and it was just a fun little side project for me to make. Little joke show, nothing really taken too seriously. People don't like it, whatever, it's not the end of the world, I don't really care. But eventually I put it out, I private it and I schedule it. However, what I didn't know was it was going to be it was in minutes, not seconds. So I had to scramble okay, how do I make it a Secondly Object Show? And so I just decided to release it within seconds of each other. So it's not every second, it's within seconds of each other. So I was just all right, fine, that's fair. And I privated it, and then I go to sleep, and then the next morning, immediately release them. Give them their own but spanking new thumbnails. I do a lot of things with it, and there you go. Send it out. A few hours later, the Hourly Object Show releases, and that blows up. That show blows up. And eventually, it comes to the point where everyone else is making their own Blankly Object Shows, and I'm just watching, did I do this? And then I look into it, no, it's just pure coincidence. I just happened to release mine on the same day that Snowy Packle released the Hourly Object Show. And eventually, it just kind of became this whole Blankly Object Show trend that I didn't really start, but I did before the trend started, if that makes any sense. But because of the trend, people actually searched up the Secondly Object Show, found me, and eventually, the rest is history, and now TSOS is one of my biggest shows of all time. And eventually, I make the second season, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and then eventually kind of lead up to season 20, where I said, all right, after this show, TSOS Mini, and TDFAMOS, I decided that was going to be the end. However, obviously that was true for some degree, because I ended the show back in October 2022, so a whole year and a half went by. Well, more than a year and a half, but stick with me. Eventually, I decided to start making other object shows, and then out comes Spiral Shape Show. The original series at this point is still going, keep in mind. So, Golden Lore is still going. Spiral Shape Show enters the scene. However, I'm noticing that the episodes are taking a little longer than expected to actually make. And with Golden Lore at the time coming to a close, but then I'm bringing back the seasons, and I can't just be putting out Golden Lore and Spiral Shape Show. I kind of need another cement, because like we kind of have 3 tent poles. Well, we have 2 out of 3. We have a serious show, which is SSS, a half joke, half serious show, which is GG. But what about the joke show? Where can we fill that in? So I began kind of like brainstorming as to how I could potentially do it. And then eventually kind of got to the point where, what if I make like another joke show? So like eventually I kind of try out different shows. I try out the Flipperama Object Show. I try Play Button Palooza. I try I made an object show at school, which is not all those ran fine. Well, minus, well, obviously 2 of them have been on hiatus for like who knows how long, but one of them wrapped up. But they just weren't it. They weren't the show I was looking for. So eventually kind of came down to like, how can I bring back the Secondly Object Show without making it season 21? Because I don't want there to be an actual season of that show. Like, I kind of began brainstorming because TDFMOS was an utter failure. I did not like it. And honestly, it's I wish it was just gone. I never made it. But whatever, I did. TSOS Mini, that was just meant to be, again, a side of a side gig, I suppose. Nothing, just kind of meant to be on, like, the shorts, the reels, and the TikTok of it all. Even though I never really uploaded to TikTok. So that's fine. But then it always kind of wrapped around back to TSOS. So eventually, as of last week, I kind of had the idea, what if I just did TSOS again? Almost like a reboot, but it's not. So I began thinking of the title. What should I do for this? And then I got back to the Secondly Object Show second round. It makes sense. Secondly is already a word, so it's like the second time that this show has been done. Although technically it's the third if you count TSOS Mini. So I eventually kind of began I began filming it the same way I did back in 21. I privated them and then I post them in like a full second. Well, not a full second, but just within seconds of each other. And honestly, I think that this was a really good move because now I can upload more, well, what would be Object Show content. At least more Object Show tied content because this is still canon to Golden Lore. If you're wondering where in the canon this takes place after the events of the Golden Lore movie, which will not like reveal any spoilers about the film because it's still ongoing. But trust me, everything will make sense once all the projects are out. But again, with that being said, this is not season 21. It may look like it, you can consider it, but it's not. It's its own thing now, and as time goes on, I'm probably going to try and give it more of its own identity, because as it stands, it pretty much is like a season 21 type, but it's not. It's almost like the reverse of All Stars for season 4 of Golden Lore. At first it wasn't season 4, but then I eventually decided to merge it once I decided, like, if I'm going to do 2 of these things at once, why not just merge the 2 into 1? And then eventually I just kind of gave up and just merged the 2 into 1. So, to put it short, I made TSOS second round because I wanted to put some more Object Show content out there, especially with the recent success of my BFTI My Teardrop videos, which have been doing phenomenally. Thank you so much, by the way. Just because I want to give my Object Show viewers more of like what I do as opposed to what other Object Show channels do. I like having a lot more fun and trying to do stuff that's like crazy and like doing a lot more outlandish stuff. So hopefully you're in for the ride. Hopefully you got like some more hopefully the Secondly Object Show's not done. It's still like, again, this isn't going to go on for another 20 seasons. I can guarantee you that. I'm planning at least 5 of them because that's how much like I can actually do on like the basis like this. And plus, they're easy to make. So to recap, Spiral Shape Show and TSOS second round are going to be running together, at least for the next little while, until episode 5 of SSS comes out, which also SSS season 1 episode 4 comes out this Friday. Hopefully you guys are excited for that. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.